Welcome back to the Atlanta Major here on the A stream. We've got a big game coming up here. We've got G2 coming up against Fury. Still feels weird to be saying that we've got G2 in the plains, but that is exactly where they are. Nick, I'm Des. This is, you'll know this guy, he knows no introduction. We're in for a good cast here. Actually, I'm looking forward to this.
No, we are. It's our first time together.
It is.
And when I first started casting, you're one of the first people who gave me advice when we spoke about how to do things. So it's nice being here after, what, a year and a half at this point.
I am stood in the box, though, because you are
still in
taller
the
than
box.
me. Can't win. When me and Tim cast with others, it's a curse. We have to stand on boxes because together with the same height with others, we're just like way down there. Not so good. But look, this is a fun one because for you, you're casting G2.
Yes.
You are very synonymous with G2, obviously, in Siege. What are your expectations for them for this competition?
I mean, you said it, like, they're in play-ins, so they're not really doing so well right now domestically, but we always know G2 on international ground, they always step things up. They save things, they hide strats, as we tend to say, right? So I expect them to go in with some clean gameplay, but I expect them to do their homework as well, right? We're talking specific operator bands, going to maps that they know they can take the enemies on as well, because G2, they do have a good map pool, for example, but if you don't, like, show it at an international ground because you play the same maps over and over again, you're making mistakes in draft. So clean gameplay, pretty like back to basics for G2, I imagine.
Although, just imagine, I'm really fitting for the costume I've got on.
Oh, no.
Imagine a world where they get knocked out in play-ins.
It'd be terrible and it'd be great at the same time, right? Because, like, we
so
need
interesting.
D2, the storylines, right? They won invitationals earlier this year, but what if they don't make it? Imagine.
What if they don't? What if they don't? And this is exactly what's going to happen if they don't make it. If they win this game here, they go off to play against Dark Zero tomorrow.
That's a good
Great game that'll set to be.
Yeah.
If they lose, they face off against Knights. Whoever loses that game in the lower bracket, which takes place a bit later on today, they are out. They are done. A one-day stay in Atlanta is all they'll be able to claim. But first and foremost, they've got to get through Fury, who obviously haven't really spoken about yet. Quietly excited for these guys because they're from Thailand. There's a lot of players here that people may not know. Some of them you will recognize. For example, I9, who's on the team, was formerly known as Napiew. Many will recognize that name. Like Colas has been around on Q Confirmed, for example, back in 2020. There are some known faces on this team. They've had a coach now full-time for a couple of months after kind of self-running the team for the longest time. They're on this upward trajectory. But is it enough to beat G2?
Well, that's the thing. It's a really tough start for them, and it's almost where I want to say I wish they had a different opponent started off with as a warm-up, if you will, and then go into G2 instead. But
I can't get over your hands flapping around, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, they're so big, right? Like, my finger stops here, but it keeps going. It's like a Grinch hands.
Great.
I don't know. But I wish they had a warm-up. They don't, right? That's just reality. Sometimes you start with the biggest, boss battle in the beginning, and if you can overcome it, you set yourself up for a great position.
The thing is, like, you got to beat the best to be the best, right?
You do.
Whether it's in the first game of the competition or the very last one, at some point it simply has to happen. So what better way to give yourself a real run-in against G2? I mean, the fun thing is it could even turn out to be a bit of a rematch as well, because, of course, if we see G2 win this game and go on to face off against DZ and G2 lose that game tomorrow, if we then see Fury beat Knights later on in the best of three, there's a rematch tomorrow, but in a best of three. And I think for me, what I'm really curious to see is what the banning strategy, the veto looks like when it comes into this, that we'll take a look at in a minute as well. For me, it can be telling based on their historical records on how comfortable either team is going to be. But first and foremost, tail of the tape. Give us a run through it, Nick.
Oh boy, I mean, let's just look at the 12-0 right now on the side of Fury, right? Domestically, these guys were going on a heater, not really dropping any significant losses. I mean, yeah, you end up with 2 losses in the end, one of them to bleed, I believe, but then LCQs, they came out on top instead. So they lose one, they gain the victory elsewhere. Whereas on G2, we see a couple of different kinds of losses, right? They didn't have a Scrapes at this week performance, which is why, of course, they're here in play-ins, not expected. And they had to go through the LCQ where they had a phenomenal run, but is it enough?
The real battle is, though, if Fury can win here in plains, if they make it to Swiss, they qualify for SI.
All right.
That's all they've got to do, but they've got to get past G2 and DZ, two teams that everyone looks at and thinks really should be making it to those later stages of the tournament. Now, Consulate is a really interesting pick here. I almost want to say I feel like G2 have made a bit of a mistake because this is actually Fury's top map. They've played it 3 times in the last 2 months. They've won it every single time, 7-2, 7-0, 7-2. It is by far and away their favorite map. Have G2 made a mistake going here?
Possibly. Well, G2 played like once domestically, I believe. It was a big game from Doki, so they had needed like a hero to win that matchup. It was an 8-7 victory for them. So it's like, is it a mistake? Maybe, maybe not. But I think if you're Fury, this is exactly where you want to be. You're comfortable, you have experience on this map, and you're up against G2, who doesn't look like a great Consulate team, but if you are G2 on the other hand, you're not going to go to Consulate unless you got something cooking.
It's that base level of skill on G2, but the game is ready. Let's stop all this yapping and get into some games, shall we? Consulate awaits between G2 and Fury. Again, the winner faces off against Dark Zero tomorrow in a best of one. Win that game, you're through, you're done. If you lose, you have your last chance saloon tonight against Knights in a best of 3. You lose that, you're going home. And no big surprise here, Nick. Pretty much everyone is on the side of G2.
I mean, I actually think 12% in favor of Fury is pretty damn good, if I gotta say so myself, because people don't expect that much from teams that are not from EU, NA, or from LATAM, right? Because that's just kind of how the history goes down. We have had individual teams from across APAC that's had like individually good single runs, but we gotta go back to like Noah Rengu or Fnatic, you know, where we saw consistently top, like good finishes and upsets happening. It's been a while.
It has indeed. Well, in we go. It's Fury starting on the defensive side. As you can see, G2 kicking things off on the attacking side. And we're into our operator bans. Fury starting things off with the attacking ban. We'll go through a couple of bans from G2 and then round things out with Fury before round 1 gets underway.
I want to see if Muncie makes it through, because it's a big, you know, crotch operator for a lot of teams. We know G2 can play it. I'm sure Fury can play it as well. And the thing is, if you leave it open, you can both bring out on the attacking side. But if you're Fury, you start defense. You can rack up those rounds. They opt for Dokkaebi instead. Of course, also very high meta operator that we can see being played very often. Same as Jing, same story. If you don't play her, you ban her. And if you do play her, you might not want your enemy to have her either.
Yeah, this is one of our games earlier on as well, the Dokkaebi and Ying ban coming out. One for Roamers, one for the Execute, the 2 very powerful operators to get taken away. The Azami ban coming in, a tickle of a surprise, because I know that's Doki's go-to favorite operator. Although now Legion's so strong, he's a Legion main.
I think he's gonna hop around, right? Same on the attacking side. Fink and Grid like my best friends now. They got grenades instead.
And about taken away as well. Nice.
Okay, Intel.
You haven't seen that banned away that much. I mean, it's always one of those operators that's like, oh, really? We have to play with Valk? Like, it being taken away just removes that fear, I think, when G2 go onto the defensive side for the side of Fury. Here we go, the Nick. I'm excited to see how this one plays out. Do you prefer Nick or Pengu, by the way?
Either or.
Either or.
Right, we'll usually Nick goes for friends and Ping goes for work, but we're like work friends, so like it's both sides, you know?
You can kind of blend the two quite easy, right? It's going to be Nick. Don't say Tim because it's nice and easy to say. Nick's easy to say.
Yeah.
Parker's really annoying to say. Not because it's a long word, because he's just annoying.
He's just annoying
so
person.
We'll go with Nick.
Okay, that works.
You have to deal with him like all year round, man. I feel
know.
for you.
I mean, we had a big summer break this year, though. It was nice.
Yeah.
You know, setback, no Parker.
What was the longest time you went without hearing his voice?
Well, that was summer, right? Because we didn't really work together. The whole thing, pretty much.
Damn.
We DM'd a little bit, but there was no voice involved. Just like text-based.
The real blessing.
The real blessing.
All right, then here we go. Console up on the top 4 is where we are going to kick things off. So some interesting takes on this earlier on, actually, in Bleed's game against Cyclops at the start of the day as well. Saw some really good holds coming into this central corridor, but it's really going to depend how G2 opt to attack this one out. Nothing too surprising, I'd say, for either side in terms of the operators they're bringing along here. Should be pretty clear-cut for the first round, just while they feel each other out for the first couple of rounds.
Oh, for sure. And I think, yeah, we can look at how the attackers are up to, like, you know, attack the building itself, but I think the crossfires that the defenders establish is the bigger story, because if you don't establish a crossfire, attackers walk in, they take the confrontations, it's not a big deal. But if you just set up these, like, right here we saw I9 play, you set up the crossfires together, you play 2 versus 2, 2 versus 1, etc. You make it so hard for G2 to get inside the building. That's your goal on defense. So we see Fury just really set things up, wait for G2 to approach that area, and then take the fight.
I half expected to see someone come running in through the bottom end of the map, up through basement, up the stairs, but not to be the case. We did see Doki, Alamau, and Benja all running down the northwest side of the building just to get things kicked off and start their kind of assaulting towards the building here. You can see the drones rifling on through as well, just sniffing out where these couple of members of Fury might be that they haven't yet discovered on the map, but it feels for the most part that the vast majority are on and around the site. Just dark on the downstairs, it looks like, and maybe in a little bit of a sneaky position.
The starting position is usually going to be yellow side or a, you know, admin side instead. And so far, G2, they're favoring admin. They're going to go in because, again, Fury, they don't care about admin itself. They care about that exterior horde that you mentioned earlier, Des, where they set up 3 players and they wait and they wait and they wait. Get some drones, fall back, hold on, got the Magnus as well. And G2, they have to problem solve this hold.
They love this split kind of some setup they've got here as well, where 3 on one side, 2 on the other. Doki already finding himself one, popping off on the hill, start marching his way back forward, recover that little bit of chip damage that he took away. Virtue's going to fall down here to I9, the artist formerly known as Napew. Lycola's into a second. 2 good kills to get off the board with the finger being removed so early, but already it's down to a 3v3 with half the round still to play.
It's messy. It's just 1v1v1v1s. No trades are happening. It's a back and forth, and so far it favors G2 massively now, and it's I9 in a 1 versus 3.
He's got it all to do, and he's still being pushed in as well. They've still got a couple of players up towards yellow stairs. Just about misses the head of Uno, but he doesn't miss on the return fire shot. G2 with a pretty comfortable first round. Sure, a couple of kills going against him in the mid part, but that 3-2 split between Northwest and Admin, absolutely perfect.
Yeah, and again, it came down to, yeah, sure, G2 attacked it in a certain way, but the defense didn't have the crossfires established, and that's how those 1-for-1s or 1-for-zeros, happened. You want to see kills always going back and forth, but G2 got 3 kills without anybody else dying on the side of the defense.
Absolutely. Well, I think for Fury, it's going to mean maybe a little bit more cheeky aggression either earlier in the round or more squadding up and trying to take those trades as you say, because it goes both ways as well. It's not just onto G2, but a lot of room being given to G2 really. Look, halfway through the round is when we saw the first entry coming on through. Things just a little bit too comfortable for G2 to start off.
Yeah, and well, the thing is, when you set up these kinds of holes on a defense, when one person falls, okay, that's some disgusting shots.
Yeah, that's danger.
But when that happens, like when you get when Crit falls on Jaeger who swings out to Doki, it's like, okay, when the first member falls, like the dominoes kind of fall step by step by step. So you need to play together and solidify it on defense, and if not, G2 will take advantage. Players like Benja, like Alamao, like Doki, you give them just half a second to act on a gunfight, they will take it every single time.
I think all eyes, for those who maybe know Fury, all eyes will be on Crit here as well. He's the young gunner they picked up earlier on this year, really to bring more firepower into the side to let them be more capable in their delivery. And we've seen that again in the results. The sheer fact they're here speaks to that. But it's about now turning that into an actual round win. We've only seen one OS tend to give it 2 or 3 rounds, then start making an assessment on a K. The team is now consistently losing in A, B, and C ways. They're falling behind here quite hard. I want to see if this round at least goes any better. They seem a bit more dug in this time around with the castle on side.
Yeah, I do like the bomb side change as well. Top floor, playing very much slow, laid back, but now on this first floor, extend upstairs, roam, castle barricades, open lines of sight, and kind of making the map more open for defense itself. Still having intel with the mirror windows, with the Solus and Crit as well, so they can make proactive decisions on the map and challenge you to more, like you said, play more aggressive.
Yeah, give G2 more to work through, right? So rather than just being able to stare almost essentially right in towards the site and take gunfights, it's a clear around the map that we should see Fury have stage fallbacks from if they get to that point and don't get completely blasted by someone like Benja who's sniffing around here, or in this case, sniffing feet, finds a man through to the soft wall on his left, and it's Crit kind of counter-scanning him on the other side, just being so mindful of what's coming his way.
Yeah, I mean, I like this fact that Fury, that, they're teaming up. There's 2 people inside of meeting, playing together. If Benja were to try and take this gunfight, but he thinks, let's just fall back here, relax, hold an ankle. Maybe they'll push in toward me instead, because Benja is on the Jackal. Animal gets taken on first by BG Man.
Immediately Doki's there into his footsteps as well, looking to get the trade, almost finds it in Virtue on the other side, completes that kill, assist secured by Doki. The march on forward continues, Uno into a second as well. It looked to start so well for Fury, but now just being picked apart piece by piece by the world champions.
I mean, they're everywhere. Upstairs, downstairs, the flank is coming as well again. Now G2 they can take out, poke around, find these last couple of members. Once they realize they're pretty much all above, they can make a side plant with the smokiness on Benja, for example, and just start working on the bomb set itself.
Yeah, Benja's been really patient, to be fair, as well, playing very much isolated this entire round, making use of the INOT scanner to make sure that he's at least safe, watching off on his flank, for example, while the rest of the team have put all their focus on the execute. You've got Benja covering off on one of the riskier sides. This one's down and dusted, and by the looks of it, Fury are nowhere nearby. Doki swings around and finds I9. A 4v2 in the post plant. This one's pretty much done and dusted.
That's a hard one. You can try and retake it, but time is ticking down. They get that first initial kill, but they got much more work to be done for them.
They have, and it's again the blindness, I think, pushing in for this too. Hoping for the very best, but Doki finds both. A bit of a collat out there at the end.
Okay.
Cheeky. Still unfazed is how to describe G2.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of how you expect the matchup to go when it's G2 against Fury. A Titan name against a still young, early team, A name that's up and coming, if you will. Not quite there just yet. Still new to the international grounds. But you never know with G2 because, you go from winning invitationals to going out early at majors and not making majors and, falling down to LCQ, playing in play-ins. But I think if they keep playing like this, they'll at least make their fans happy.
It's good to see them in high spirits as well. Like every time we come out of a round, there's lots of smiles, jokes being exchanged as well. And I wouldn't say not enough focus is put on this kind of thing, because I think it is quite fairly. But that team kind of momentum and attitude and spirit coming into it. You know, Koi very famously won the Berlin Major back when they were known as Rogue, off the back of saying, look, we aren't really practicing, we aren't really scrimming. We'll just focus on having good rest, on getting on well as a team, lots of kind of social time, for example. And you saw exactly what that did for them. They came out on an absolute high and won the whole thing.
Yeah. Also, I mean, we saw G2 did attend Gamers 8 earlier this year in summer, and, you know, pretty high expectations. Alama was like, oh, you know, a lot of prize money, I want to win the monies, and they get, like, obliterated in the beginning, right? They lose, like, 0 to the Falcons, they go home. And it's like, okay, where is the cocky G2 at? Because they're not playing in the server, but they're tweeting on social media. So,
again, look at this on the left-hand side of your screen now. 4 players all breaking straight towards yellow stairs. Saw this back in round 1 with just 3 of them. They've realized that clearly there's a lot of stock to be taken in that position to push through. So this time around, they're sending 4 players there, which probably means, again, you're going to see one player off entirely by themselves, trying to, I don't want to say do everything by themselves, but play things a bit slower, a bit more cautiously, just to kind of present a little bit of threat on the other side of the map.
Yeah, it's important to have pressure points in multiple areas. Also, like phantom pressure, open up a window, even if you're not going to play there. Just the defenders feel the pressure from that window being opened up. That could be an attacker holding that angle. And it's a good plan. It's like 4-1 split that they're doing. And yeah, after the first round, CEO the second time, changing things up.
The drop, going straight in. A bit of a rush coming in here as well. Like Otis has flashed out, that flash going off just a little bit too late there. It does cost them a player, but 2 kills quickly go back and forth between either side. Now we've got the Nomad charging on through. Virtue looking to find something, but it's Uno to find his man. Alamau into another. It doesn't seem to matter that the plan went a little bit awry there in the first 5 seconds, because G2 has still dragged it back. Plant is going down. It's a 3v1, and Crit has got it all to do.
Yeah, bomb goes down again. 2 plants for G2, but Crit in a bad position.
Ooh, nice shot. Okay, that's 1. You've got to go through 2 more, though. And the problem is, against Uno, who's really been on fire so far this map, Virtue looking very, very comfortable and stalwart, as he always does. And even had an EE1D still to bring out to play as well. It's not looking good. Down he goes to Uno. G2, fair to say, they are in first gear here and cruising along casually.
Because I had my drone, so nobody meeting. Yeah.
We can hear some talking.
Yeah, we can just talk. Give us some more.
Doki, say something.
Say something, man.
Doki.
It's your time to shine.
You're normally so loud. He looks pretty composed.
Yeah, he does look composed.
And Ben, you're not going to get anything out of Benja.
No, he doesn't say a word. Like
the silent killer.
No, yeah, but I think every team needs that kind of player.
He's so beautiful, Virtue is. He's such a handsome man.
Oh, he is. He's model worthy. There is Napew, or former Napew, now I9.
I changed to I9. I like his nails.
And his tattoos as well. I walked past the event that he changed his name, and I was like, I know that guy, but his name is not the same. And I was like, is it the same guy? He's like, oh, it is Napew. Okay. Yeah. He was on the Elevate before, I believe, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, unsurprisingly, really, for Fury, early tactical timeout coming in. You've gone through 3 rounds, you've lost them all, you've been crushed throughout every single one. Something really has to change, but I guess for them, it's hard to say what to change. Yeah. Are you going to go aggressive early on and try and disrupt G2? Yeah, good luck. Are you going to wait until later in the round and play disruption? Yeah, good luck. It's just, it's so hard to find something to do when G2 are on their form like they are today.
And it's true, but now they do have their coach, like you mentioned earlier, right? So at least there's like another set of eyes behind them who's full-time, who's like organized on his stuff, that can kind of say, guys, this is the issue right now. When I do want to give praise to Fury in that previous round that we just witnessed, because G2 went for this like off-pace, really fast execute out of nowhere, but Fury were there for the trades. It was a 2v2 trade down to a 3 versus 3, but then G2 conquered the bomb side. So it started off quite well for Fury, but then in the later stages, that's what the individual plays from G2 just a little bit better, and they got them that round.
Yeah, so some signs of life, but not really enough yet to push them far into the game. And looking down there, score the kills on the left-hand side of your screen, 7 across 3 rounds. Go to show they're only averaging about 2 per round, so it has been a very dominant G2 show so far, but after attack timeout, everything can change. And here they've opted to go down to the ground floor, which means, like you commented earlier on, that you will see that roaming up on the top floor. You will see the ability to stretch G2 a bit, force them to fight for more areas of the map, and hopefully catch them off guard a little bit. Even got 1 or 2 players hanging out downstairs here, Pengu.
What's catching me off guard is the echo.
Wait
a second.
Let go.
No, commit to it!
Run, my friend, run! He's out of there and still alive, at least for now, but that's 2 players in a bit of hot bother, but at least they're trying to contest G2 on entry into the building. This is more the stuff you wanted to see, is either get up in the face and try and contest them. It's going to be a hard ass, but you've got to at least try. And now we're on about trying to see if you can slow G2 down. The big fear being that this is directing towards the site. Like, they've already got the wall open. That mirror was just far too late.
I mean, they do have Uno and Osa, so it could be a direct side tick here. And the mirror window, if it went down in time, if you committed to it, it actually tricks the Thermal Charge off the wall. It would have been phenomenal to witness. And the thing is, BGman and Lesion as well and Crit, they both have Impact Grenades. As does Echo, they could have Impact Tricked the Exothermic Charge easily if they're in the right position.
I did think it was on the ground floor at first, so here we are, all learning new things today. Almost we marched there. And with 2 minutes still to play, this is where I start to feel nervous for Fury. It looked like if maybe they managed to keep things locked up a little bit longer, it could have been better, but no ability to trek out the Thermites, for example, coming on through. No ability to keep that wall closed, and now it's just about trying to win gunfights. And fair enough, the drones have been whittled down to just 3 left alive for the side of G2. They've got 1 fight back into the 4 versus 4. Not bad, not guaranteed to win, but not bad.
Oh, well, they keep falling by the wayside, so that's going to be bad for G2. We got Captain Jabs, Frostmans, etc. as well. So the one big saving grace for G2 right now is Alama on the first floor and Unu on the Osa. It's a way in towards the bomber side and vertical destruction to assist Unu as well. But Unu's got, as I say that, that's Fury's key to them this round. Play it together, play for those crossfires, and just play the numbers, 4 versus 2.
It's much better, and again, it's those 1v1s being forced. Like you say, play for the numbers, but even without them, they're still winning their 1v1s. And sure, you've got the vertical control at this point, but Fury have got no incentive to come chasing after you. Like, why try and look for the gunfights? They know that the diffuser's likely down outside. They know they're in a spot where really G2 have got to come to you, and you can just sit and wait for it. And Benja punished by being so late on getting that drone out. Alamal's by himself, may pick up a freebie here, but of course looks away just a couple of seconds before the man crosses the boundary.
Unlucky.
That would be one of those classic moments. So literally just check that angle, dude.
Yeah.
Why is he there?
Oh, siege timing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a good round for Fury, and it started off kind of like, oh no, walk out of it really quickly, oh boy. But then BG Man steps up, he finds individual kills, and they stabilize. Uno on the Osa didn't get to use the gadget whatsoever. Sure, he put one down outside the yellow door, but he died the moment he peeked the breach later in that round. No plan could be established. They had the Miranus, they had C4s. Fury, they take their tactical timeout, they talk things through, and they go to basement for the very first time, and they found a round victory.
Yeah, it's quite cheeky there.
They swung.
Good shot at range. Saw his gun an absolute mile before Doki saw him as well. So a good one coming out there. Nice shot from Lycolis. So it is all these ones being won. A couple of them in these blind situations like you just saw at the end with Benja. Drone in hand, shot for free. So G2, again, haven't had to really get out of first gear. It has been a lot of solo pushes. It has been a lot of, I'll go and take your ones and win your ones. It's no problem. Yeah. Maybe now you're going to see them have to get a bit more serious, a bit more composed, and really give Fury the respect they deserve.
Yeah, that's the thing, like, if you can get by with a little bit of trolling, if you will, like playing a little bit loose.
We do a bit of trolling.
Yeah, exactly. Why not just keeping a little bit of trolling, right? So this is kind of like, okay, now it's game time. Look at the attacker repicks. Every single orbiter being changed to something else. The Amaru and the Grim and the Gridlock. Ouch. There are some combinations here that can be tossed out for intel, for counter intel, and Amaru
Grim and Gridlock feels horrific to play against, doesn't it?
It does, especially the Grim, because it's been buffed now twice. It covers a large zone now for a long duration. And there's no real counterplay.
Yeah, aren't they? Yeah, there's loads that can go on. And essentially Alamau here. We see I think people love to get excited about Amaro and don't always see it like come flying in the way that you'd expect to through a window. Hero play, shotgun at the ready. But speaking on that, he has got the shotgun priming. So very feels to me, some close range firefights are going to kick off as this round progresses.
And it's always good with a shotgun on Consulate, right? A lot of doors, a lot of kind of like
floors.
Soft floors and fights that can happen out of nowhere on close quarter combat terrain. It's the matter of where does he want to go? What's the idea here for G2? Because they haven't really shown us much right now. They're in the setup phase right now. Yeah. Doki's doing the work right now with the Twitch drone sapping away, clearing utility. Really doesn't get the mirror, unfortunately. Would have been huge. They gotta rotate someone else and deal with that elsewhere, or could it be a grenade, for example? They have no throwable hard reach, at least.
Nope. Well, one nade comes over, at least gets Dark onto his backside, but the payment coming back the other way. A little bit of interest being added. It's Doki completely finished off. 2 down now as well. I9, as you say, could be a little bit precarious here for the side of Fury. Just gotta hold on at this point, get these players back up if you can, and you could be in a good spot. But BG has fallen down. Alamau C4'd out by Lycolis, and another quick couple of kills come in. And it's always so anticlimactic when players that are down have disappeared because the others get killed. But with 2 down, it was almost a bit of a nothing round, really, for G2.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It looked like a 5v5 or a 5v4, but in reality, 2 people were injured, and a 3rd person died to a nade, I believe, as well. So out of nowhere, the round just ends. Alamau did fly in the window and confirmed the injured kill, then got C4 traded back. So Fury, again, they have a decent response to one of the issues, but there's just more than one issue at hand here. They can't fix the rest.
I'd love to say if we quieten up, we'll listen to what the players are saying, but I just know that we'll pick up everything that Stokes is screaming behind us. He has been so loud.
Yeah. Him and Carter, they're a duo.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've got the number of times you have to be with those two, like inside voices guys, and they're like, sorry. Inside voices, sorry.
Inside voices.
Just love screaming louder.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you've been playing, I know you've been playing a certain MMO for a while now with a lot of British boys. What's your favourite lingo that you've picked up that you've heard them say?
Oh, no.
There must be some.
I mean, the good old is like
PG stuff, obviously.
Yeah, that's always what we go to, yeah. Good old Jack taught me that one because he's from the north, right? Fresh
Yeah.
boy, so...
That was just what Medics always says it to us. Whenever we used to work in EUL in Paris, it'd always just be like, you got a bottle of water, and it's just like, come on now. You don't say that. Say bottle of water.
I mean, we don't let those go, right?
We don't.
We're not from
We hold on to
England, so we
those.
make fun of you guys. I'm sorry.
What was it I
but-
said earlier? I said something in like, we ask a question sometimes by ending it with like, in it. So it's like,
Oh, yeah.
I was pretty good at that, innit? And they're just like, oh yeah, in it, mate. In it.
Yeah,
I didn't say that, did I? I just said in it is like, isn't it? That's good, that, isn't it?
But it's like no one else like uses that always. So I was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you know?
it's definitely a unique thing in the UK.
But when I lived in the UK, when I play with UK players like daily, you know, in Siege, I tend to pick up on the lingo as well.
Yeah.
And I become like part British for a little bit, and then I stop playing with them, and I'm like, okay, I'm back to my normal self
Are you
now.
part American now after living here for so long as well, or are you? Is that
No, I'm back in Denmark
Is that
now, you know?
completely been wiped out
I
now
think it's
after
been wiped
18
out,
months?
yeah.
What is this?
It's a run out. Okay.
I mean, fair play. They've held on to the timeout, and the aggression in the early round is still paying off. Alamal take it offline. Sure, the could be opened up here as well by the Habana before being taken down, but it's still a bit of a stinger to lose one of those guns.
It is. I mean, I always say the good thing about your quote-unquote IGL dying, your in-game leader, is that he can now have the full overview from drones, from third
Hang on a minute, because Leon used to use this argument all the time. He's like, well, I died on the IGL, innit?
yeah.
He's like, now I can
die
call.
first.
And that's why he had the most entries for his team, despite not really playing entry roles. It was hilarious.
Okay. Now that's an excuse for
That's
dying
cool.
early,
We call
I think.
that hard
Copium. Yeah. No, but I still think that, you know, if you are a good IGL, you can make some stuff happen. But right now, all Benjamin needs is a little bit of intel and a good nade. But what looked like it would have been a kill is on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
No damage goes to whatsoever.
They have the idea, though. I mean, Doki's in the right place here to try and force us engage. They know where he is. He can call in some help if he needs to, but he's also got a jump out coming in off to his right. I'm liking it from Fury. They're getting aggressive. They're forcing G2 to ask questions. And now Doki's in a very rough spot. He's got to win a 1v1 here if he wants to get out safely.
No, you're right. They're playing proactive Siege right now. Playing to the, hey, that's a guy spiral. Jump out the window. Make a play here. There's a minute and 20 seconds left, or 12, should I say. That's because Fury, they're actually applying pressure on the initial entry part of the map for the first time.
They have the idea where the smoke is. It's the right sort of idea, but here we go. They've stacked up with 3 players marching on 4s. Like, oh, let's get to trade. Something we spoke about earlier on, wasn't seeing too much of here. It's starting to come online. Dart picking up Doki as well, looking good for the side of Fury. A 3v2. That damage at that range is effing ludicrous. Virtue down to about 10 HP. It's Imanuno against the world here. Still got a couple of impacts to play against. Another smoke canister coming out as well with only 40 seconds on the clock.
Oh no, we should have nade there. Just toss a nade in on code, force smoke to movement. He just walks on in.
Like go, let's go.
Not like this.
Whiff. Please not like this. Potentially fighting their way back in. It's a 2v2. They get at least one back. Dark starts things off. Virtue with nothing to his name. A slither of HP. Simply can't get it done. Dark, I believe, with 3 in the round. Gets Fury over the line.
Oh, and they get the 2-4 halves. They're still down in round count, but at least they buy themselves a little bit of space on the attacking side. But statistically, this is when the game gets harder for Fury, right? Defense is typically where you see like a 4-2 half or a 3-3 worst case. They only get 2 of the 6 rounds. Now they got to attack against G2. You know, Monty is open. That might be a key element here if Fury wants to play it.
It's like I always say, I say it to Tim every single game, there are 2 halves to a game of Siege. And what you see in the first half doesn't always dictate what you're going to see. In fact, I'd argue, more often than not, it will not dictate what you're going to see happen in the second half of the game. So I'm with you. I think attacking into a map like this especially can be really difficult for Fury, who, you know, won't have as much experience as G2, maybe don't have the skill or the kind of support and resource that G2 do, may struggle in the second half, whereas G2, you'd hope at least, would have an absolute field day charging around the maze that is Consulate.
Oh no, this is disgusting, right? You know, there are those and those. Monty players, they're kind of gross, but they're okay. But Clash players, Jesus.
I mean, that sounds a bit biased, because you played a lot of Monty.
It's, everyone's biased, in it, you know?
In it.
In it doesn't work there, but still.
It was a bit forced as well. You're a bit hard on the insertion of it. You're like, in it. And I was like, okay, now you're forcing it.
I'm trying to
It's got to be passive as all hell. It's almost like a throwaway word, like, fade away.
Okay, I like that. No,
You do it.
but Uno, I mean, former teammate of mine, we've been in the grand finals of Raleigh Major. He's come to be a Clash main. I will say, if there is a map to play Clash on, I think like Oregon Basement, top 4 of Consulate, like right here, it's a phenomenal spot to do it. Because again, if like as an attacker, like with someone G2 attack, you're forced to go in towards the building from admin, from Spiral, from Yellow Stairs, and they all have the same thing in common: one small, tiny hallway. Like, there's not many angles of Clash to worry about. There's no vertical cliff below in this hallway as well, and you get so much intel.
Can really make a stall happen in the middle of the map, I think, inside of that corridor. As you say, Dark is continuing his killing spree now. It's 4 kills in a row that he's picked up across these last couple of rounds. This one inside of admin, but G2 have got these kind of layered support, well, layered defense coming up here, where it was the start inside of admin, and the ability to fall back here in towards this central hallway with a shield, with Clash. Just so much to still work through here on Fury's side, and honestly, my fear now turns to things like the clock. Is it going to start working against Fury as we get in towards the 2nd minute of the round? I9 going down to Virtue.
Yeah, and that small advantage of a kill is now equalized down to a 4 versus 4. And at first, like, okay, G2, they don't have the manpower to play around the Clash anymore, but they do. Benjamin is still playing there on the Wamai. Got a deployable shield. Uno, if he wants to, can go off the shield and play with the shotgun, in this case, unfortunately for him. And you see this kind of stalemate. Fury, they're droning, they're double, triple checking, and it's all good in the world, but no!
Okay.
That should not be happening.
I mean, why?
That's
I guess is the
blunder.
question is why is he so far forward in towards the room? He just needs to be inside a break at that point. They've got the hallway control. That's all they really need. Benja's got to make a play happen here to at least balance out these losses. He's looking for one, has the right sort of idea. Can't quite see his man. If he crouches enough, he might see him, but they've seen him first. Backs out for a second. C4 over the top. Easy kill in towards Copy. Dark taken offline.
That's a very important kill out there. It slows down Fury again. It gives G2 a little bit of space to work with. And Benjamin and G2, they got a good read on with the whereabouts of these last attackers where they are on the map.
The thing is, you look back at how G2 attacked this site, 3 on towards yellow and 2 in towards admin.
Yep.
They just had pressure from multiple sides, whereas from Fury, it feels like it's a small step forward, a little bit of a tickle on the south side, and everyone else is really held up inside of admin here, struggling to make too many inroads and make their march forward happen. They've got control at least now of the hallway, but there's only 40 seconds with which to play. That's not a lot of time to make this execute happen when Alamau can still stab you in the back.
They can try. I mean, the plan goes down. G2, they're nowhere near this, but they gotta go for a flank and a retake.
I mean, one's gone down. Don't tell me G2 have given this one away. It feels like maybe they have. This is unbelievable. Even with the hole, with the shield, they had everything to play behind. This round is slipping through their fingers. Virtue fires one for himself, hoping to find one through the soft wall, but simply can't make that happen. Rounding his way off towards the other site here as well. Ephemeria gadget activated, but now they're back outside the map. This is going to feel so precarious. And Virtue, I struggle to see how he makes this one work, really, Nick.
That's tough. I mean, they had a Ephemeria gadget. They could have popped in the door, but they didn't. And now, I mean, do you swing the breeze? Do you stay back?
He's got to take the firefight.
Yeah, you gotta jump out.
But he's got to make the jump out happen. He's got to make it happen. You've got to go now or never, my friend. You've seen the leg. You know that it's there. You may as well pad your KD, mate. Come on, to go for the best. Not a chance in hell.
No.
Lycole is finishing him off and really snuck that one away from G2. 3 players all kind of surrounding there. The one playing on site, one inside a desk. You had Alamar playing up towards the shield at the top end, but nothing stopped the slow walk forward from Fury. It's almost like they missed it, I think, potentially.
I mean, I think there are 2 glaring issues at G2 in that round. The first one is that the Ephemeria gadget wasn't popped on the meeting door towards admin side until after the plant went down, so the intel wasn't there. And secondly, we saw Benjamaster on the Omai playing inside a meeting, and then ran back towards CO playing so far back. Doki went for a jump out even.
Of course he did.
Of course, yeah, classic Doki. But this right here, Uno dying on Clash, that's the big issue. There was no secondary piece, they had a jam on the wall to admin, there was no real way strategically for Fury to actually have any way into that round until Uno just walked a little bit forward unnecessarily, be like, is there anybody in admin actually? Oh yeah, there is, I'm dead to him. And it's like, you don't need this. If you have Fenrir sketching on Yellow Stairs, you have Barbed Wire, you have Virtue playing there, you know that's clear. You can assume, you can guess, you can just pretty much be like, guys, they are in admin, they're just super slow, especially because Doki jumped out. He saw 2 or 3 attackers, he must have.
It's not panic stations just yet, but we kind of came to that word back in that first half of, respect. And I'm not saying that G2 are outright disrespecting Fury, but they are playing with a lot of confidence. The jump outs, for example, the forward extension coming out from Uno, things like that. Just peel it back. Play the siege that you played to win your world championship, for the love of Christ. Just make it happen. Play behind these shields. There's no reason why you should be giving up rounds like that to Fury.
And this kind of shows, because how often do you take the exact same upper lineup and the exact same bombs up, the same setup, unless you thought to yourself, guys, we did stupid stuff that shouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
A, Doki shouldn't jump out, and 2, Uno shouldn't extend. You played the exact same round without those 2 silly mistakes. You should win it. They know it, so they go back to back.
Absolutely. At this point, A bit too far down the stairs. I thought maybe it was just about close enough, but no, it was the answer. Now, Dark obviously dealt with Doki from here real early on, so he's going to expect some more of the same tomfoolery. Doki is much further back, playing instead off towards that hallway side. So I think, like you said, same lineup, they acknowledge it's more the way they played it than the comp itself being the problem.
Yeah, and I do like this because it shows like you have confidence in yourself and like what you should and could be doing and why, and also self-analytical. You know why it didn't work out. So you fix those small issues, you force for it to not deal with the problems, and the C4, the cherry on top, the opening kill, Grim off the board as well. It's a massive operator to get early in the round.
Beautiful stuff. And everyone is just really entrenched here as well, feeling no real need or drive to fall back here. Just taking out these drones as they come on through, and it feels like Fury are kind of hitting a bit of a brick wall here as well on their march forward towards the middle of the map. And even here, as you've seen from BG, man, I imagine now stepping away from attacking through admin and trying to find a new angle through this map halfway in.
This is when they have Phantom Pressure. You see the double door barricades all spiral, that's not opened up. The windows inside CO is not opened up. So G2 know there's nothing happening on the map elsewhere but admin side currently. You see Virtue and Alamal just sit inside holding one angle, and then Uno and the Clash can always get you intel. He's just swinging that admin door like last time, and they're just waiting for Fury to do something because they know on defense you don't have to act. And I like this adaptation from Dark going downstairs, but they need to make a play elsewhere with it because you're just blocking for nothing right now.
If there's a drone there, feeding some information on what's going on that side. It could be a freebie waiting to happen. Just goes to the hatch, and there is no one there, but literally directly above his head sits another player, and he's going to start chewing his way through. Virtue's got himself into a place you wouldn't normally see players playing because it's so exposed to the window. Doki finding one for himself, and it's a good spot to be in as well because the pair of them can trade off together as they have been doing. Benja, he clears two up towards the yellow stairs, all too easy. And it's Dark, who, again, has had a good couple of rounds, but against four players of G2. I mean, nice try, Benja. I'll give you that, but there's more to do. And I don't imagine the Dark will have too much luck against three.
Oh, here's your bitch touched him here, Dark. 1v3 with a Clash in the board, but he won't even get past the first. It's Virtue getting that final kill for G2, and the second time works out much better than the first.
It absolutely does. I think that time round, I liked how at least we had the respect being shown by the attackers of Fury there to say, look, halfway through this round, we're getting stonewalled, guys. There's three of them sat in that hallway. We can't push this. We've got to go elsewhere. But it also shows that discipline on G2's side to not pull the two players away from the west side of the top floor. They sit there, they hold, they wait for the drones to come through. Benja goes aggro when the right time comes around, gets a 2K, and that completely shuts that round down. So much more discipline by G2. And what I love is it didn't take attack timeout to make it happen.
That's a good point, actually, when you got the comms and the players themselves, not the coach. But I will say on the side of Fury as well, not a very great, I would say, adaptation to the operator lineup, because you should be using your drones in prep phase to get inside the building, especially when Solis isn't being played. They should know Clash being brought, the same kind of setup, and they don't play Cavita or Sophia or Kali or any of those operators that can deal with the Clash whatsoever. So let's assume they saw the Clash. They think, let's just do the same thing, and Clash is gonna suicide again like that. So just walk into too much forward. Well, that's not gonna happen. That's the adaptation that G2 are making. Now you as an attacking team have to make an adaptation of your own. Play those counter kind of operators, have a different approach, or trying to circumvent the Clash by going elsewhere. None of that happened.
Onto the split site here as well, Nick, which I'm going to enjoy seeing. This is one of my favorite rounds, and Tim, to be fair, always says that he loves round 9. It's either goes to being 6 and 3 afterwards, in which case it feels like G2 are so far away and it's a massive effort for Fury to bounce back in, or it goes 5 and 4, and even if G2 win the next round, 2 rounds to win doesn't feel so bad for Fury to bring this through to overtime. G2 win here, I think they just completely run away with it. Fury win, suddenly you start to feel a bit nervous for the world champions.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good point, actually. The round 9 is pretty fancy when it's this kind of scoreline with 5-3. And we do see the fourth bombs being played as well. See that good old Taylor's Archives. That kind of unfortunate to play a different style of siege. You gotta play up-down now because the bombs have to spread across 2 different floors. The primary floor, first floor, and basement as one side of Archives. So you're spread quite thin on defense, and you gotta be very vocal about where the enemies are attacking from. Well, that has been a good angle for G2. They tend to have a lot of intel as to what Fury wants to be doing.
I love how hard they're committing towards keeping... When we debate about what do you actually call the room where Alamau is playing? Do you call it a box? Do you call it secret?
Yeah,
the one that leads down in towards the electric stairs. Right over here, look. What do you call it? It's called electrical there, but you call other things electrical on the map, so it's a bit like what do you actually say? We had a whole debate on Twitter about what to actually call it, but the number of times I've seen a team just open that up with like a thermite, then march in with the Monty, for example. In this case, it could have been an Ossa. They can't get away with that because Alamau is sat there hard protecting Virtue's Electro Claw to make sure they cannot go directly down. That forces Fury to have to work their way top down rather than bottom and across, which makes things so much more complicated for them on this site.
Poor Uno, but the support is there. Ben just saves him and gets a kill as well. It's good teamwork.
He's gone spot here to see the negs, tries to kneecap out Crit. few shots being rifled on down. Crit puts below 50 HP, but still in and fighting. Virtue finding BG, man. G2, once again, starting to pull themselves ahead here, and Fury with a mountain to climb.
And Uno's still alive, just sitting in a corner. He knows he can't move an inch. Like, Cole lives with a flank, but the doors are barricaded. Very underappreciated, you know, system in Siege. Hold F on the door, barricade it, and it works like a drone. They gotta shoot it or break it. It makes sound, it slows them down, and it's made sure that this flank doesn't go unnoticed from the side of G2.
Again, largely unbothered. In fact, they managed to snake their way across here and behind now. Virtue's the one staring down his man.
Uh-oh.
They go from the door, just inside. He goes just inside as well. C4 gonna get rid of one, but not quite I9, who's now gonna win the gunfight. He gets rid of one. Does he know that there's still another player into the left-hand side, though? I'm not too sure. It's him and Crit to try and save this round, but it feels like it might be too big an ask.
I like the smoke in it here, stalling things out, really, you know, making sure, hey guys, you got 30 seconds left to go elsewhere because I got toxic babes galore in my pockets. Second goes out as well, one more to spare.
This is so rough. So rough. Smoke comes out as well to at least bridge the gap slightly. Alamar going to step his way around. I think bounces a bit too far. Crit goes down. I9. He's left against 4. Nothing really to do. Gets pushed through the smoke as well. Gets the trade, but it's taken out. G2 up to 6 and 3. And at this point, it's when I start to feel for Fury like it might just be a bit too much of an effort to achieve.
I'm surprised they're not really opting for a Blitz or a Monty or something, like trying to cheese your way through the map, if you will. Yeah, they've, you know, tried to play out, you know, the more like roam operators, like the Oza as like a mini Blitz or mini Monty, but why not full commit to an actual shield operator? Okay, let's say Fury might not like that stylistic choice of how to play the game, but against G2, I do think a shield operator could work, especially the Monty.
Really, Benja just raining down terror from above here as well. Sure, he gets that first kill easy, but it's the second chip damage he's putting onto Crit to really slow down the togetherness of the last couple of players on the side of Fury. Really thought there that would have turned into a double kill, but the one was enough because all you did was leave the Ossa entirely isolated and alone. I was about to say oscillated and alone. Oscillated. It does. You go with it. It's a new word. Very oscillated. I'll use that one in future.
Oh, I see a Blitz. Now there's time for it to
now you're
change.
getting excited.
Yeah. I mean, I love when teams, they actually make that decision that I feel like they should make, because I feel like I'm a little bit validated on what the problems might be, but it's also match point when you're down 3-6.
YOLO.
So it's, yeah, it's kind of like the YOLO stuff, right? We got nothing else that's working for us. Let's try this last and final thing. But let's say it starts working. You go 4-6 and you go, it's just a long way to climb back. So it's a very like last desperate attempt, it feels like, more than a thought out plan. But this might be just a yellow door rush. It looked like it for a second, but no.
Taking it a bit slowly to begin with, starting off on the roofs and droning into dudes to make sure yellow is clear before they make their play happen. But don't write off a yellow drop and then a rush in. Doki's in a good spot here as well.
No way.
It's in that. Run. Run, Doki.
Jump out the window.
I mean, there were 2 players circling the skylight, so I was just like, that is not the place to be right now, my friend. But he walked out alive, scot-free, and up on a shot goal.
Yep, that's gonna slow things down for Fury because they gotta recheck, re-drone every inch of this map now. And they do find the goo mine. Twitch drone doesn't find it, unfortunately, for them. So once the bits does get in, you gotta watch all the corners and the steps around the walls, otherwise you get goo mined.
EE1D comes in, players drop in and start their march forward, straight into a Fenrir. No long angles being challenged by G2 initially. So safe entry into the building secure, but Blitz is down to half HP. A C4 comes out. Benja, I think he had double the number of explosive kills that anyone else had at the 6 Invitational. It looks like he's carrying that on today with a great C4 kill to start things off.
I mean, you rush with a Blitz and good backup in Alliance game. What do you get met with? Impact grenade, C4's being tossed out, you take so much damage, and you lose a member as well. It felt like a great initial entry, but it got stopped immediately. And G2, they just fell back. They didn't care about top floor because the bomb set's downstairs.
And they're not going to complain, right? It's again that respect that maybe we saw lacking in a couple of rounds. They're showing it a lot more now. They understand and respect. There's a Blitz, there's a Lion. We should really be watching out for this one. Play for those safe explosive kills. Outside of that, drop back, let them work forward, let them play into the Fenrir, let them play into the Legion, for example. The C4s in the back pocket of the Mute still available. Still many tools to shut down this attack.
And Fury a little bit lost now. I mean, they got the Blitz upright, still waiting for those Finke touch to go out for the heal, but they've been completely defenseless, right? They're just falling by the wayside because now G2, they retake top floor.
Oh dear.
That's rough.
Losing the ground is one thing. Dying to it is a different one altogether. Good one comes out there as well. There's a double coming on through. Doki's there like a good teammate to back his man up. Finds one, gets the down onto the next. PG Man is all that's left standing. Thankfully, it's going to be GG Man at the end of this round, though. 4 left standing for G2. A very comfortable first closeout for them, and they secure that game tomorrow against DZ.
Oh, look at that disrespect. They're just running at their opponent. Again, the confidence, they read the situation well, and it was indeed just too big of a task for Fury to overcome.
So like I said earlier on, G2 for most of that game, not really having to get out of first gear, even second there once they had the chance to kind of regather themselves. Respect to Fury a little bit more, I'd say, again, second gear really as far as they had to get.
Yep.
Not really having to show anything either, which means coming into tomorrow against DZ, they've played a map here that isn't really one of their stronger maps. In fact, it's one of their lower favored ones, and even with it being Fury's strongest, they still look pretty content, I think.
It's also a good storyline, the G2 Dark Zero, because I know Alama and Troy have some banter on Twitter about how many times one has beaten the other and whatnot, and we can see that being relived again here at this major. And also we see Fury go up against Knights, a more even matchup, if you will. So I think wins across the table here.
You know what I'm looking forward to seeing? Alamau and Troy screaming. Because we've already seen Canadian today giving it a little bit of lip, haven't we?
He was
so
on
I'd love
fire
to see it coming out the pair of them.
He's like, yeah, I'm not leaving. I'm staying right here.
There were debates around exactly what is it here that he's quoted. To me, sounded like Wolf of Wall Street, but others thought, oh, maybe it's something else. And I was like, all right, fair enough.
Yep. We gotta ask the man.
We can ask him. We can go and do just that. But yeah, very, very comfortable first win. I think now obviously all eyes and conversation turns to Fury versus Knights later.
Yep.
They've got a best of 3 to play. The loser does go home on just day 1 of the Atlanta Major. But that's how we like to do things here. Got some highlights to show you as well from that game in just a second. But again, Fury versus Knights. Anything in this game that you looked at and saw from Fury that you're thinking, actually, if they can do this or double down on that later, maybe they'll have some good success? What do you think?
I was going to say, I think if they can recognize the issues more like early in the game, quicker as well, they need a technical timeout, need a coach to give input, and then at the very end, when they did go for a faster pace take, they still fell short because G2 countered it, right? So I think being willing and happy to do things earlier rather than later, because we saw G2 adapting and believing in themselves much more than Fury did.
Again, for G2, not really having to work too hard for this one. Looking forward to seeing when we see more of them coming out tomorrow. I do expect against DZ, it will be more of a challenge.
Yeah. I mean, I want to say, when G2 weren't like the ones who make mistakes and overstep their boundary in defense, Fury had no way in.
No.
So if you're Fury, I think you look at your attacks more than your defense and say, how do we fix the attack inside of things? Because defense, it did look half decent.
Respect and composure, essentially, what we keep on talking about, right? And it kind of feels weird to say that a team's weakness today was the confidence, the cockiness almost as well, the aggression that they brought to the table, but it really was that. That was how the door was left at least a little bit open for Fury, but it was slammed in their faces very quickly.
Yeah, but again, I mean, if you're a team known for your cockiness, you gotta show it every now and again, right? You have to.
It wouldn't be G2 without it, because I think you may have seen like the trailers, for example, during our breaks here, is that talking about G2 back at SI, for example, they were out there saying, we're here to win. Really confident. We respect none of you. We're here to win everything. And look at what happened.
They did do that.
They absolutely cleaned house is the only way that we can summarize it. Well, that is the end of our best of ones today, I believe.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Now, we get into some very, very exciting fixtures. It's all best of 3s where the losers go home. These games mean a great deal, so do stick around to watch them. We'll go to a quick break. When we come back, more games coming up. See you soon.
Thank you.